staff there. But as a fighter, I was like, well, I would want that. I would want someone there to take care of me if I got hurt, and I want to know that that's there. Now, as an athlete in Canada, we can't insure the athlete. So as a promoter, I can't get insurance if you're fighting, say, to cover you if you get hurt. This doesn't exist. In the States, they can do that. Up here in Canada, we can't. So again, it's a personal risk, and I recommend to fighters that they get their own personal insurance. So if they get hurt, they're covered. But again, we get general liability insurance to say the city council is covered if something happens, the venue's covered if something happens. Just like if you held a rodeo or anything, ice capades comes in, doesn't matter. There's their insurance involved. Some stuff, again, city council says like the NMAX Center in Lethbridge, they have their own coverage. If someone slips down the stairs with a drink, they have insurance for that. So my question would always be, well, how come, why do I have to get insurance for that if your venue's already covered? But I get it. It's kind of double dipping on it, that there's extra coverage if something were to happen.
Thank you for that. Councillor Gamana.
Thank you. Again, thank you very much for coming here in person. I'm a fan of martial arts. It's nice to see something happening. But I guess, as you can see from the questions, the concern is about the liabilities. Is about how do we, do this without much of that getting back to the town itself, right? So you had the example about Lethbridge and the insurances as all that. So you have your own insurance. Do you know if Lethbridge has their insurance on top of what they usually have for these kinds of events?
Well, again, the venues have their own insurance. They have to have it to operate. We have to go through, if the liquor served, we have to go through AGLC and have all those protocols in place. I don't know if city council has their own insurance for events that happen within the city. But as an individual proprietor, when I do my event, I have to have that coverage. And that would cover anything that would happen within the venue itself. And I have to very specifically label the venue, the city, the commission, all in my production people. Everyone has to be named in my insurance policy of who's covered in the event. And it ranges between $2 million to $5 million liability, depends on where I go and what I do.
Thank you.
And in the history of MMA, which is why we say it's a safer sport, I've competed in boxing as well, and you get concussed and they stop the fight and they give you an 8 count, give you just enough time to recover to go back in and get hit again. And you do that repeatedly. Well, you take more damage in MMA, they don't do that. There's no 8 count. So if you get hit and you get rocked a bit in your days, the guy stays on you. Usually they take you down, they're ground and pound, nothing's getting through, you're blocking, but the ref says you're not entitled to defend yourself, they stop the fight. So for me, the key to the safety of the sport is a good referee. I'll pay a fortune to have a good referee come and do my event. More than a doctor and a paramedic, the referee is the one that decides whether the guy's hurt or not hurt and calls it. So that to me is having the right trained people, is why I go around and do seminars on reffing, judging, not just martial arts, but the other side of it. How do we make this a better sport for everybody? How do we make it safer? A well-trained referee will do that for everybody, keep them safe. So.
Thank you. Mr. Osmond, did you have anything to add? I just see that your mic is on. No? Okay. Were there any other questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. You're sure to closure.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do an introductory. Let's do that first. If everyone wants to stand up.
You're in it.
Kevin from CALS, Seth Noble from CANVAC and Noble, Stefan Fertig from FNL, KPA, Robin and Rose from like tourism, and sorry, Robin, what's your role in your company? Accounts payable, but she's been an advocate for community involvement with the businesses she's been with. So she's being modest, she's behind the scenes, but she's advocated a lot for those pieces. So there's 1 or 2 other people that aren't here. So there's a minimum of 4 or 5, it says in the bylaws, but we want to show a lot of local people, a good base, and with mentorship. So appreciate their time this morning. My closing remark, rodeo being high risk. Formerly, you know, boxing was big in town. Thunder in the Valley. These are things that are arguably higher risk than MMA. MMA, you can stop at any time. Wave that white flag, or the referee will stop it. When we're talking Thunder in the Valley, things go wrong at hundreds of miles an hour. It's over. Rodeo, same thing. You know, that animal might stop or might not. Things can happen. The big vision here is we've gone, so I'll label Kimberley, BC, super small town. They put all of their eggs in a basket once a year. They've got an event where they have downhill longboard events, and people come from all over the country and from the northern states to this little town of Kimberley. They tie it in with a giant bocce ball tournament with hundreds of teams that just dress up fancy and funny, and it's non-competitive. They have a great time. And then there's hundreds of soccer teams all in one weekend. And the town of Kimberley, that's kind of their source of income. But everyone knows, okay, Kimberley's got this event every year. They're about the same size as Drayton Valley. And it's an awesome experience. You go to a restaurant and they've got specials for that weekend. And they know, okay, you know, everyone knows everybody. So when you go there, they know you're probably here for soccer, for bocce ball, or for the longboard. Here's your special: steak, beer, $10. They're just so happy to have people in. And I can see this, our main purpose here is a segue for the town. One is for our local people, our amateur people that want to compete, exciting pieces with potential future Olympics and developing the sport, being a hub for Canada. That's very exciting. Referee education. The purpose of, charging a couple $1,000s as the commission is being able to put that back into the community, being able to raise people that take referee courses or judging courses so that our local people maybe travel to those other events, and then it builds through us. But it being a segue for the town of Drayton Valley, here's a hub, here's what we're kind of known for, here's a revenue stream. People are coming to town. Now we can justify, a different building, right? We've got the new pool and things coming in, but now, okay, maybe the bowling alley gets a renovation because they're like, we have regular people once every couple months coming to town. Now I can afford these renovations because more people are using my facility instead of just the local base. So it can be a segue for bigger things for the town. Yeah, those are my closing words. We thank you for your time. Thank you again to Mr. Meehan. And if there's nothing else, then thank you so much.
Councillor Ballas?
Thank you, Brad. Just one question for you. This commission, would you be asking it to also promote events in other areas?
That was our hope, not so much to promote in those other areas, but their duty would be to potentially be a commission for there. So right now, Penhold is the only traveling commission that is charging insane amount of money. Every time they host, that money goes back to the town of Penhold. So community is small. I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody. He's also a promoter. But if we were much more affordable, they would be using us instead. So it's the same safety and liability as if it was in town, events that are experienced, and part of those monies raised would go back to the town of Drayton Valley through there, specifically to the commission. And again, that goes into that full circle where the commission would use those monies to educate local people, maybe as referees, educate themselves further in the sport. And that's kind of that full circle. What can we be a hub for something like this?
The second question, Brad, is how many events would you look at promoting locally?
So we've gone through, I'm just seeing who else is in the room. We've gone through our venues a few times. I've been bugging them, trying to picture it in the head. But the Omniplex is an obvious choice. And as Lee had said, they've got, 1,500 to 2,000 people at some of his shows. Very similar layout to Omni One, where you've got a bowl of people around you, cages in the middle, and table service. So a local restaurant gets to cater the event. You've got after parties that, feed the community as well. Our hotels have to be full. All of those good pieces. So the Omniplex is an ideal thing. The curling rink has been used before. You can't quite host the same amount of people, and it's not quite the same atmosphere. It's having the bowl around you is pretty unique. A lot of places are just like the curling rink, where it's one big flat surface, not too much on top of the cage. So we've got an opportunity to have a pretty great atmosphere that people will be attracted to.
Started doing 8 shows a year, and then there's no shows available. We're basically another promoter started doing events. So I gave my athletes a chance to meet elsewhere. So now I do 3 to 4 shows a year. For a place like Drayton Valley, he said, hey, we want to do an event, can you come work with us? So I worked with other communities to do my event in their town. We've done shows in Calgary, we've done shows in Tabor. And the money goes into that community when you go there. Just get a chance to compete. I go talking with Unified MMA, which is our UFC Fight Pass. He had said that if Drayton Valley ever got a commission that would travel, he would hire them to do his shows in Liverpool, and bring them in there. Because again, he wants the sport to grow, he wants to make it affordable for everyone. It's a big, big thing is that there are more places would do a show if there was a commission. If there's no commission, there's no provincial commission yet. So we're trying to navigate and make it work for everybody, that we can make a safe, great event that can happen and build community itself with people coming in. But again, there's always local athletes that want to compete in the sport. They see it on TV all the time, they want to do it, they want a way to get involved.
So we'll wrap it up with questions. Councillor Gamana?
Thank you. Sorry, if you could refresh my mind, I'm not sure if this has been said before, but how many events do you think that you will put up in a 1 year, locally as well as outside?
Outside would definitely be a question for Lee. He's got the experience. There's more and more shows now. There wasn't very many before, but now there's, and for example, with the UFC, they're, obligated to do so many a year. So there's more pressure on them. I would say at least twice a year would be our goal. There's always room for more because you could bring in other promotions, but I think part of what we want to do is work with the right people and work with people that want to better, not just like the community in terms of the public, but the community of mixed martial arts as well, which is why we've aligned with amazing people such as Lee. So I would say twice a year, and plus or minus depending on the right people. We want to do it right.
Councillor McGee?
Thank you.
Interesting, when I was reading through the material, Brad, the one thing that stood out for me was the commission itself and the rules around who can be on the commission. It can't be the promoter, it can't be this. So is there somebody, when you look across the breadth of your community, that do you think that would be a problem, putting a commission together?
Not at all. That's why we've brought them in. Where we lack experience, being a new commission, we lock hands with somebody with much experience and mentorship. You've heard the passion and energy from Lee, and those are the people that we want to align ourselves with. The MMA community isn't very competitive; it's very much communal. So as opposed to
make it there and back in time.
It's all good.
Oh, we have somebody online that you might want to just mute your mic, please. Thank you.
So it's less competitive than is communal. So gyms are trying to help other gyms because those are the people that we would compete against in tournaments or in cage fights. So it's still in its infancy, really. So we're all about growth. So it would be more, the mentorship is needed, and wouldn't just be ours. So for example, the Penhold Commission isn't filled with experienced people, even though they've been around and they're the traveling commission for the province. We want to fix some of the holes that are in those other commissions. Lethbridge's got a fantastic commission because Lee's been there for a long time working with them. So we want to make sure that they're educated in the sport. Right now, the people that we brought to you are passionate in the sport. They want to learn more. They're not just there for that, feather in the hat and that paycheck. They're there for the right reasons, and they're people that have already been advocates for the community through donations or whatever they do, business owners that have helped Drayton Valley stay afloat, especially for the last few years. So that's also why I wanted to make sure they were present so that you get that confidence that we're approaching the right people. We're trying to make this bigger than us. I hope that helps.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for coming. Thank everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. I love your passion and your drive for trying to bring this to the community. I think it's fantastic. We always talk about diversity and growing our economy and thinking outside of the box. So this is exactly one of those things. So yeah, thank you for coming. It's very exciting. We will be talking about it later on in today in the governance and priorities meeting. So then administration will get back to you if we have any questions and everything. And thanks again for coming. Okay, take care. So thank you. So moving on to 5.2, DVB Aquatic Center Committee, Laureen Bita and Dave Davey, please, if you want to come to the mic. Thank you, welcome. Oh, okay. Yeah, very good. So maybe we'll just pause for 1 minute. We lost our CAO. No, you think it's okay? Yeah. Okay, we'll go ahead then. So yeah, we'll let you go ahead. Thank you for coming.
First off, I'd like to thank Mayor Dodds and fellow councillors for having or allowing us to speak on behalf of the DVB Aquatic Center Committee today. Welcome everyone and good morning. My name is Laureen Bita. I am the chair of the Aquatic Center Committee, and Dave Davey is our finance coordinator. Our committee was established, I'll give you a little bit of a little blurb about our committee. It was established with the main focus to create awareness about the new aquatic center being constructed in Drayton Valley and to raise additional funds to construct the new aquatic center that will meet the needs of this community and the surrounding area for a long time, 50 years or better, we're hoping. Where we started, the aquatic center, the aquatic facility capital budget is on the screen here. This budget was the budget that was presented to the previous council and approved by the previous council for the construction of the project. So this is basically where the previous council started and where we started with the project to begin with. What have we done since then? Well, a fundraising committee was formed. That's our chief purpose as the Aquatic Center Committee. So what have we done since then? We developed a sponsorship brochure approved by the town and solicited, I guess we've been working on sponsorships and donations for just very actively for over a year. During COVID, the potential for sponsorships is $2,560,000 total. And our sponsorships to date are just over 900,000 in committed sponsorships. Donations have been coming in as well. We've received, physically received, as of October 31st, $85,846.14 in donations. Most of the work on these has been strictly by phone. Because of COVID, it's not allowed us to get out and meet people or physically approach people in their place of business. So it's been a lot of phone work. We have solicited donations also through speaking with family and friends, promoting the project through family and friends, and or people, our committee, doing business with businesses in town. So during transactions, having lunch, those kinds of things, people in their daily jobs. Some of our committee also speak to people on a daily basis about moving to the community. And so obviously constantly promoting, dealing with business people, actively soliciting donations and sponsorships to our our new aquatic center. Fundraising has been fairly small. We have not been able, again, due to COVID, our fundraising opportunities have been fairly limited. We have used and partnered with, not necessarily used, that's a bad word, partnered with a lot of the local businesses and schools to try and create awareness in the community. So we've done some promotions with the grocery stores where they've collected donations at the tills for us. We did a couple, Toyota did a movie night for us where they matched their donations from the community. McDonald's did a McFlurry Day. They said it was phenomenal. We promoted it so well. They did more than double what they would normally do on a McFlurry Day. So that was great. And they also matched their contributions. We did a community yard sale where we charged an entry fee and donations were collected. Community responded very well and asked us if we would be doing it again. We also were invited to participate with Lanterns on the Pond with the town of Drayton Valley. It was a wonderful event. It was greatly appreciated by the community. And we got some good exposure. Tim Hortons donated hot chocolate and cookies for the event, and we were there to hand them out. Our next fundraising event is an online silent auction, which we've also received great response from the business community and individuals for donations, and that's going to be running next week. And it is strictly an online event. We are looking at the future, obviously creating further awareness with possibly the Light Up Parade. And plans for 2022, we've got a swim-a-thon on our agenda and an event with the Rotary Club, possibly a spring fashion show. Some of these are just tentative, and some participation with some of the local restaurants, and possibly a golf tournament, and finally a live auction prior to the opening of the new aquatic center. Grant applications, it's another area that we've been working very hard at. We have our major grant application pending right now is with the CFEP grant. And we are hopeful. It is our second time applying for this grant as the DVB Aquatic Center Committee. And we have had a meeting with the minister in a hopeful, our minister, our local community, our MLA is obviously supporting the initiative. We've had lots of support letters from the community on that grant. So we're hopeful that that grant will come through for us. That grant, I believe, is for $1 million. We have multiple other grants currently pending and currently 2 under review. So we're hopeful that they might also come through. Advertising, we've been doing a lot of advertising in the community through multimedia. We have if you haven't seen it yet, we have a reefer van down at the park, by the park next to the highway, with a sign on it to support the aquatic center, which will be removed when the project is finished and returned to the people who donated it for us to use. We have a couple small banners that we use to promote the events when we have them, host any events that we had printed up. We have had multiple photo ops with check presentations from our donors and sponsors thus far. We make sure that we acknowledge them and promote them on our Facebook page and through Instagram. We have a newsletter on our Facebook page that we try to keep the community and our Facebook group connected with what's going on, any updates on the aquatic facility on an ongoing basis, on a quarterly basis. And we share as much information as possible that we can from the town site with links through our Facebook page and our and any pictures and any information from the free press and the media that we get as well. And I have to say that the free press has been wonderful. in also helping us promote our new aquatic center and our efforts from the Aquatic Center Committee. Roll this up, Dave. To control this.
Is that working?
Oh, you want the page? Please. Oh, there we go. Just the middle. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so just to talk a little bit about our current numbers. These are our actual numbers as of this point in time. I should say as of a few days ago. So our naming sponsorships, secured and pledged. So secured is money that we physically have received as a payment towards a naming sponsorship. So we have 5-year sponsorships and 10-year sponsorships. The 5-year sponsorships provide us with a full payment up front when the agreement is signed with the town of Drayton Valley. The 10-year sponsorships have the opportunity to pay over the first 5 years. So they provide initial payment, and that amount is included in the secured. So the secured would make up anybody who has committed to a 5-year sponsorship to date, and initially to their initial payment to it for a 10-year sponsorship. So what we've secured so far, physically cash, is $209,016.22. Pledged is an additional $390,983.78. Donations, again, is $85,846.17, as you can see. The fundraisers number, which I previously mentioned. The grants to date, this grant number is actually representative of a donation, physically a donation that we received through Weyerhaeuser. We work and are partnering with the Drayton Valley National Swim Club in our efforts to secure grants. So this money has come back to us through the grant that the Weyerhaeuser Giving Fund has provided to the project. Pending grants, again, the reference there is to the CFEP grant and the
Did you want the page to go up? Sabina, can you lift it up?
thank you. A little too far though. Okay, that's great. Nope. Okay, so
Do you need to go up one more?
can you reduce it? Yeah, okay. All right, so the Community Facility Enhancement Program is the grant that we're still waiting to hear from the provincial government on for the amount of $1 million, and other grants that we currently have pending, several applications for a total of $221,000. So basically, what we're hoping, and I guess our prime reason, or not prime reason, obviously we're looking to raise funds for the aquatic center, but we really are, our passion for this aquatic center is, from the aquatic center community's perspective, is really to see this water slide go into this facility. Currently, the water slide is a future item for the facility, has not been approved by council with respect to the by the previous council, it was not included in the budget that was approved by council. We understand this amenity was not factored into the construction cost. We are aware that the town of Drayton Valley has debentured the full amount to cover the entire cost of the project currently, which is the $3.7 million for the new aquatic center. We know that many of the risk factors on this project have already been eliminated. We are confident that several of the remaining risk factors will also be eliminated or greatly reduced, bringing a shared construction cost reduction in our favor. We are here today to ask council to consider the efforts and successes of our fundraising committee, in that we've already received commitments of an additional $835,000 and continue to solicit donations and sponsorships and promote our fundraising efforts for a water slide and bouldering traverse wall. Finally, we know that the water slide will cost an additional $350,000 and the bouldering traverse wall $180,000. We're asking council to consider the addition of these amenities to the project and approve it as part of your 2022 budget for the town of Drayton Valley. Time is of the essence for these to be ordered and installed for the completion and the opening of the new aquatic center next year. We'd like to thank council for allowing us the opportunity to speak today, and we look forward to sharing the opening day of this new aquatic center with you and our community.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Councillor Clark?
Thank you. So with the CFEP funds, that $1 million, what do you guys have that pegged for? Anything in particular?
Well, this, in my opinion, the CFEP grant would actually help bring down and cover the shortfall between the actual construction cost and the actual completed budget.
Okay.
What's been raised by or earmarked already in terms of funds from the commitment from the town of Drayton Valley, Brazeau County, and any reserves that were held for the project and any donations that we've already received.
Okay. And then when do you expect to hear on the CFEP? And then I guess, what do you think your chances of getting that are? Do you have a sense of that?
Well, if I had a crystal ball, I would like to say, our chances are good, but there's a lot of people out there asking for a lot of money. Still, we found that through COVID. We expect to hear, I would anticipate in December, because December was when we received our last reply from the CFEP department. So I anticipate December is the earliest we would receive the news. And I'm always hopeful.
Councillor McGee?
Thank you, Your Worship. The question I'm thinking about is I want to be very clear on the ask, Lorene. And so you've made a presentation in front of us. We are very, very happy that you are actually running with Dave and your committee the whole fundraising thing. That's hugely important for us. So, but today you're not just presenting the budget. You're really saying, if I can see it correctly, is that we need, as the dream of the committee is the water slide and the boulder park. So you're asking $350,000 and $180,000. Would we consider it in our budget for, and you would continue the operation of trying to raise funds and all of those things. But for right now, the ask is that in order for us to proceed forward.
That is correct. And yes, we have not exhausted our efforts. We have a list compiled for our fundraising and sponsorships to the tune of 700 businesses and or individuals. We've only made a small dent in it. We've reached out to just over 100 local businesses and or residents. So what we have found, or what I have found, I'm retired, and this has pretty much become my full-time job. But what I have found is that people are, as things are opening up with the economy, businesses, things are starting to, excuse me, to move again. People are becoming more receptive. I'm not receiving a lot of resistance when I make calls, which is great. I can accept, no, we can't. And I truly can understand that from my perspective. I ran a former business that we shut down just a month before COVID. So I get it when I talk to people. So I know that there are people out there that still can do this. And we are seeing more people step forward and send us a note saying, we'd like to get on board with your project, which is encouraging. So I'm hopeful that we will meet and or surpass our goal and hopefully see this water slide in our aquatic center, because we hear more often, and I think I can speak on behalf of our entire committee, we hear more often than not, are we going to have the water slide? People in this community really believe that it's happening. So I would really hate to disappoint them. So it's kind of my mandate.
Councillor Gamana?
Thank you. 880,000 odd already. That speaks volume of yourself and your committee commitment to the community. So thank you very much for that. Yes, you're absolutely correct. I'm sure you all are hearing the same thing out there in the community. So it will be a discussion for us to when we go through the budget cycle. And to see that there's the commitment from the community already in going through that process, so we can expect a little bit more support from the community as well. So if we even set up this budget, maybe there's that aspect that we may be able to fundraise more than the goal that's been set to the community as well, right? Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for coming. Your efforts are absolutely fantastic. We appreciate it so much. Very exciting that we finally are able to see the swimming pool come to fruition. The community's waited very, very long, so it's very exciting. We'll be going into, or we've started budget discussions, and we'll be going into discussions around this as well. So administration will be communicating with you, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Okay, moving along to 5.3, Drayton Valley Free Press. Brandy Fredrickson, thank you for coming today, and thank you for opening us with prayer this morning.
Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, thank you. So just good morning to councillors and Mayor Dodds, and congratulations to all of you on your recent election results. So yeah, my name is Brandy Fredrickson, and I'm the publisher with the Drayton Valley and District Free Press newspaper. And basically, I'm just here attending your meeting just to meet the acquaintance of the new council, and just so that you have a face to a name and who you can call if you're complaining about what my editor's written. But but all things aside, I also just want to give you guys a few little updates on how we're doing in the community. So we are a locally owned newspaper, and we're completely run by locals. There's 5 of us total, including our graphic designer, our editor, our administration, freelance, and myself. And so we all have some sort of newspaper experience in our background for the most part. Our editor does call in to, this is our production day actually, so usually we get our papers out to the printers at noon on Wednesdays. But we do realize the importance of what is happening in council. So our editor does call in the mornings and catches what we can of the meetings, and have that basically next day coming out in the paper, which is a really good turnaround. And we're really happy that we're able to do that. We are in our, oh yeah, so with him too, he also told me to tell you that if you have something that you want to talk to him about with regards to a story or on the record or off the record, definitely feel free to give him a call. So this October, we celebrated our 2nd year in publication. We currently circulate approximately 3,600 to people in Drayton Valley, Brazeau County, as well as the skirting regions from Entwistle extending all the way to Alder Flats and Winfield, if you can imagine that kind of rectangular box. Our focus is really local. So we really want to see local names, local faces, local stories in the paper. And we've made that our mandate when we first started, and we've really tried to continue that. as we've continued. So the purpose where the paper itself began was more or less that we were discussing this in about, well, I had sat where you had sat in 2015, 2016, and we had seen a real big dip in the community. And so coming off of council, we're just looking at things that there are definitely things that people could be proud of in the community, such as even our aquatic facility committees. And we just want to get those stories out. And we just felt that there was a space for us to fill that. And so that's kind of the impetus behind the newspaper. We email anywhere between 12,000 to 15,000 emails a month, depending on whether it's a 4-week month or a 5-week month, with our average open rates on those PDF versions or digital copies between 90% and 98%. So this is good because we see our role in the community is to witness and communicate these community stories. And so we're really happy to see that people are interested enough to open them up, to read them. And we do get a lot of feedback on that. So with our website, which is this, and so on our website, we have our local stories down. We also have our Brazeau and Beyond segment and our business directories. But so in the past 6 months, I was just actually compiling some stats for our advertisers. We've had about 19,846 users and 37,849 page views to our website in the last 6 months. And contrary to popular belief, our data shows that newspapers are not just dominated by an older demographic. We find that we actually do span the full demographic of the community. So our age categories noted highest in our user groups for our PDF digital copies are actually our 25 to 34-year-olds, with 35-44 and 45-54 coming up in a close second. Our print editions are typically older. And again, our website and our Facebooks are within that 25 to 34 category. So we do basically go from 25 all the way up to 60 plus in distribution. And there isn't a battle of the sexes when we're looking at our online data and our email data. We're about a 50-50 split between male and female. So that just kind of gives you an idea that we do get a very good cross section of the community. So recently we've added our Brazeau and Beyond segment. So this came to be, this is a new product, I would say. It came to be, it was about a year or so in the making. And essentially after attempting so we started in October of 2019. In the spring of 2020, we wanted to come out with a print travel guide publication. But as we all know, COVID hit, things got shut in March, basically just before we were going to start launching this thing. And so we decided not to go ahead because businesses didn't know what was going on and doors were closed. So nobody was going to buy advertising for this. So we just kind of tabled the idea. In the fall of 2020, I had been schlepping my kids around to all the different places in the region. And I figured, well, I'm doing it anyways. We might as well start writing about it. And so we started the Backyard Bucket List, which was just a column in the paper. And so we started that in October of 2020 and carried that into the spring of 2021. And again, in the spring of 2021, we weren't exactly clear where the provincial government was going to go in terms of events and all those kind of things. So we had then taken that information that we had for the past 6 months and used it to launch a website, our website landing page with extra information on there. So basically we've been populating that over the past 5-6 months. We look at Brazeau and Beyond in that we're using a 30-minute driving radius of Drayton Valley, from beyond Drayton Valley. So that extends out to the Brazeau Dam, out to basically our circulating area, right? Brazeau Dam, Winfield, and Twistle. Graham and I did a marathon 27-hole golf extravaganza there in Breton, Birchwood this summer. And so that was really fun. It was a fun thing to do. It was a fun thing to write about as well. We had lost a number of balls. Luckily, we were able to kind of redeem ourselves at the end of the season at Drayton's golf course. So the things that we've heard about this has been awesome. I've heard from people that I've stopped in White Bowl. I've learned so much about the community, or I didn't realize these trails existed. We've had people that have taken their kids specifically out to Lodgepole and sent me pictures with them in front of the moose horns and stuff after posting something of a similar effect. So we're really excited about the response to that and growing that as well. And basically, we're just been very grateful to have the relationship we have with the former council as well as the administration. And we look forward to continue working with you guys for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions? Councillor Mickey.
Your worship, I seem to be on the mic a bit, but I'm thinking about, I get the email and I read the paper quickly online on Thursday mornings, and then I go and get my free copy from wherever I stop. But what occurred to me in over all of that, Randy, was that if I wanted to really support the local newspaper and keep it alive and well, it just shouldn't be free.
I know.
So
You've
I'm
said this
thinking to
before,
myself,
Tommy.
how do other than advertise, right? I can
I know.
advertise something,
Yeah.
but there might be a different way, you know, I mean, just to, for me, because I like it so much that I should just give you some money.
So what we've done, there's a little bit of a method to the madness to let you guys peek behind the curtain. Essentially, we have our regional and our local subscriptions, print that we mail out. We also introduced this spring with those email editions an optional $12 subscription. So it's basically $1 a month that people can optional. So we don't want to take away the opportunity for them to see the paper and have the paper. But we're, saying, if you've enjoyed it, if you've gotten things from it, if you're an avid reader of it, send us $12. That'd be great. It helps our reporters. And then beyond that, when we send out those print publications into our local gas stations, restaurants, all those kind of things, the grocery stores, we do regulate those amounts quite a bit. So even though that we're seeing, that pickup might be there, we've seen that we've gotten people that have requested print subscriptions because they've gone to the grocery and they're out, right? And it's great that it's out, but part of our method is in that sense is just kind of gently nudging people that if you're really an avid reader and you really enjoy it, here's ways that you can guarantee to get it. And so we're going to play with that for a bit and we'll see kind of where that goes. Obviously, I mean, it's our second year. We like to experiment and move and look at stats and data and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how that changes. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Gomana.
Thank you. 15,000 readerships within 2 years. That's excellent. So I want to congratulate you on
A lot of emails. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. The community has been really great in the uptick. And we've definitely seen that. So when we started in 2019, we print a huge amount of copies and mailed them to people just to get people interested. But we've really started seeing here in the spring of 2021, more foot traffic coming to our office, more people finding out about us and stuff. So, I mean, the landlord there, when we rented the office, he said, it takes 3 years for people to even know where your business is. So maybe there's something, I mean, the man is over 80, so maybe he has some wisdom, but yeah.
So you mentioned that, the Wednesday, I guess, cut off at 12 and all that. So, and Brazil, I believe they have
They're
their Tuesday,
Yeah.
right? So, is what happened after 12 and all that, does it go to the next?
Yes. So basically, unless it's breaking news, which we've done breaking stuff and we've posted that to our website and our Facebook page, but those are things like missing persons. They're pretty big stories usually. But yeah, in terms of after that 12 o'clock deadline, like we have to send them to our printers at 12. So basically all the stories and stuff, they're laid out and stuff here between 10 and 11:30 where we're doing, yeah. And then Graham is feverishly typing whatever you guys are discussing here between that. And we get what we can. We really get what we can as best as we can. But yeah, like the turnaround in relation to our experience in previous situations, this is basically the day after, whereas before it was about a week late in a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, great job to you and your team. And when you speak of that editor, it's Graham Long, just for
Yes.
everybody's reference, if you want to reach out. And I'm absolutely loving your Brazo and Beyond. It's a great way to kind of keep the community engaged and really share, the area and celebrate it. So yeah, keep that coming.
Perfect.
Fantastic job. And thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, moving along to 5.4, Drayton Valley RCMP stats, September 2021, Staff Sergeant Erin Matthews. There she is, yeah. Thank you for joining us. And you've brought some visitors with you today, or the team.
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to all of you, Mayor Dodds and Council.
Thank you.
I look forward to working with all of you in the coming years. It's nice to have a new sheriff in town as well. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce two of our newest constables that have arrived at Drayton Valley. And we have Constable Ryan McNeil and Constable Justin DeRoche. So they can give you a little bit of a blurb about.
I guess I'm going first. Good morning. I'm Ryan. I'm from a small town in Ontario called Stittsville, just outside of Ottawa, if you're familiar with the area. Yeah, I've been here just under 2 months now. I'm loving the town so far. It's beautiful. It's a lot different than the town I came from. I didn't have as much hills coming from Ontario, and the mountains are a really nice treat to get away to. So I'm looking forward to working in the town and getting to know some familiar faces around here.
Well, welcome to the community.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm Justin. I'm coming in from Ottawa. I was with the military police before, and I passed over to the Mounties. So we've been here for 2 weeks now, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and it's been quite the experience already. So yeah, excited to amalgamate into the community and see where the next few years takes me. So
Well, welcome to the community.
So next time, maybe you can put me at the top of the delegations because it's really hard to follow all this great stuff that's going on in the community.
You always do a fabulous job.
Yeah, well, with regards to our stats, you have them. Basically,
Can we just zoom in a little bit, Sabina, please?
we have, as you can see, persons crime. And again, you have to take this into context here. This is from January to September. So it's not really just what happened in September. But persons crimes are still on an increase with regards to, and I still attribute that to a lot of the COVID issues. Also, relative to the COVID issues are the mental health calls, and I look forward to working with, I believe it's Bill that's going to be working with us on the pact. So we look forward to that. And we had 19 mental health calls in September as compared to 10 in 2020 for September. So it's definitely a major issue in the community, and not just this community, it's all across the province, which is the reason why we're actively still trying to get that PAC team going.
Just out of that 19, how many did you have to transport?
We only transported 2 in September. October will be a different story because we transported quite a few in October. So, but that's for the next council meeting. Calls for service are generally around the same for September from 2020 to 2021. We did conduct, you'll see on the stats that the well-being checks went up to 10 as compared to 8 in 2020. And those are basically people just, I haven't heard from so-and-so. Can you go and check on them and make sure that they're okay? We did write one search warrant in September 23rd, in which we got a lot of firearms out of that one. And really, I think you all have a copy of the municipal policing report that I just sent out there this past week. So it just shows you what we have been doing in the last quarter, which would have been from beginning of July until the end of October. So we've done an awful lot. The team is great. They are doing a great job, and they're a pleasure to work with as well. So any questions?
Any questions? Counselor McGee?
Staff Sergeant Matthews, I have two things on my mind. Is I went to the recycling depot, which is now at the landfill,
Yes.
last night at 6 o'clock, and I took note of the gate is cut, and there's 3 people dragging a cart through. The landfill is closed, but
Mhm.
you just got to go through the fence, and it's a well-worn path. And then as I read sometimes in the local newspaper, you even attend out there and say,
Oh, yeah.
come on, we can't do that, and all of the things that go with that. And so we have a responsibility as well. One, probably to, fix the fence.
Yes.
So, but that seems to me like it doesn't feel like we're getting further.
Mhm.
And so where I'm going with it, though, is that last year we seemed to be a lot more aggressive. This year, it seems to me we've calmed it down a bit, and I think we have a homeless group out there, and we might have another one over here. But we're really not going in to say get out. We're saying we know where you are, and that's okay. And I'm kind of
Yep.
feeling like I'm okay with that. Less aggressive than I was feeling last year, because there was probably a little more pressure on from citizens, but there seems to be less pressure. And now we're heading into winter
Mhm.
and the MAT program and those kinds of things. So tell me what you think the next month will do with that group of, and it's also the mental health thing, all of those things, right?
Yeah, it affects everything. And the homeless population, as we know, is getting bigger all the time. And I think that it is a duty of all of the citizens that we have to come up with some solutions with regards to this. I work on several committees with regards to the homeless situation here. The problem that we have, and you're right with the aggressiveness of kicking them out, is if we kick them out, where do they go? Right? They just move somewhere else. So there is one committee that I sit on that we're trying to actively come to some kind of a conclusion, or possibly maybe looking at purchasing a building and that sort of thing, in order to try and help deal with this and try and help deal with these people getting back on their feet. Now, there's a certain number that we're never going to be able to change. But like I said, we can't just keep kicking them out. Yes, we do have to fix the fence. But I'm not quite sure how we're going to battle this in the next little bit. I mean, we do have the MAP program, which will be starting up, and thank goodness that will help. And we actively ask them if they, we'll take them there without any issue whatsoever. But it is definitely a problem. And with winter coming, it's going to be, right now, we still have people that are sleeping in vestibules of apartment buildings or banks, wherever, just to keep warm, because it is getting cold at night. So I'm hoping that we can, I know that the Homelessness and Poverty Committee has received possibility of some monies to build these shelter pods. And hopefully we can get those into place, but those are not a long-term solution. Those are like for the 1 night, 2 nights, that type of thing. It's not a long-term solution. So I think as a community, we all have to look forward. We have to look for a long-term solution that is going to help these individuals.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Oh,
Thank you,
Colin?
Mayor. I'm a stats guy, so when I look at these stats, 58%, 37%, 49% decreases, those seem substantial. Do you have any sort of context around those? Like, is it stuff you guys are doing? Is it stuff the community is doing? Are we getting smarter about, putting our bikes away at night and locking our vehicles? Like, I guess, what are we doing?
Well, these stats are somewhat convoluted, and they are. Like I said, those are stats that are from January to September, as compared to this from January to September in 2020. In some cases, we are getting smarter. People are still leaving their cars unlocked. They're still leaving their keys in their vehicles, and that is only going to it's going to increase. We're going to start seeing like thefts of vehicles on the rise, because people are going to start warming up their vehicles and they're going to leave their keys in them, and major opportunity for these individuals to jump in and take off. We have seen a decrease in the number of thefts which are usually our thefts from vehicles. Again, I think maybe some people, we're not getting quite as many phone calls anymore about somebody got into my vehicle, no, it wasn't locked, and my wallet was in there and such like that. So I think people are actually smartening up with regards to leaving possessions inside of their vehicles in order to, because again, that's an opportunity for these individuals. I think it's a combination of the community smartening up, as well as us going out and actively finding these individuals. And in some cases, they're actually being held. In some cases, they're not, as you know, with our judicial system and code of COVID especially. So we are looking at getting some headway on that topic. We do have, K-Division is actually having talks with the Solicitor General with regards to their procedures and how they are releasing people. And so we are starting to get a little bit more headway on that. So some of it, I think it's a combined effort on everybody with regards to the decrease in the numbers.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for coming and sharing everything with us, and congratulations. Looking forward to continue working with you over the next few years. And again, welcome to the community. And yeah, we'll see you next time. We'll try to bump you up a little bit more on the on the agenda.
It's hard to follow
We'll
all
mix
these,
it up.
these good news stories
Oh,
with some boring stats. So, but I thank you all, and I look forward to working with all of you.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thank you.
again. Okay, enjoy the day. Take care. Okay, what I think we'll do is we'll move into a quick 10-minute break at 10:23. Our decision items, 6.1, board and committee appointments. So I'm not sure, we have 3 here, and we'll need to go into closed if we want to discuss any of these in great detail. So do we just kind of want to work through each of them? And then if there's, well, depending on what the questions or the discussion is, then we'll decide to move into closed. Is that how we want to do it?
I think that's the best tactic. I mean, the information has been provided in a confidential package. If we want to review that information, or if council has questions about the information in the confidential package, we should move into camera to discuss it. However, if council is comfortable with the recommendations of the boards, and we can certainly proceed with the appointment without going into camera. It's only if we need to have those discussions.
Okay, perfect. So we will start with the Brazeau Foundation Board appointments, community member at large for the town of Drayton Valley. Mr. Osmond, I believe you are presenting this one.
Yes. So the first one of these is the public of a community member at large for the Brazeau Foundation Board. The board had advertised the availability of the position, and the current community member at large has put herself forward for reappointment. There were no additional applications received, and so the board is recommending appointment of Jeanette Vader to the member at large position.
Okay, wonderful. Are there any questions? Councillor Gamana?
Yeah, thank you. Just a 1-year term, is it, you know, in their policies that it's a 1-year term, or, because I've seen this name we've appointed last year as well, right? Is there more than 1-year term that we can appoint?
Yeah, so there are some boards and commissions where multiple year appointments are appropriate. My understanding is that the Brazeau Foundation legislating documents require annual appointments.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Councillor Ballas?
I make a motion. Move that council appoint Mrs. Jeanette Bader as a community member at large for the town of Drayton Valley on the Brazeau Foundation Board for a 1-year term ending October 31st, 2022.
Thank you for that. Is there any discussion on the motion? None, so I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. Moving on to Drayton Valley Municipal Library trustee appointments. That is Mr. Winston Smith. Please come on down.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Welcome.
Oh, I can make this very, very quick and easy, but you know, before I even start. Excitement.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. Great to meet all of you. The library board enjoys a very, very close relationship with the town. It's been amicable and constructive since its first appointment in 1964. I could go through the whole logistics behind the appointments. It's all in the request for decision document that you see up there. Terms are, generally speaking, 3-year terms. Councillors are 1-year term. Mr. Rick Evans, Councillor Rick Evans was just appointed. We haven't heard from the county yet as to their selection for appointment of a councillor to our board, but we have 2 councillors, two trustees who are up for either a renewal or a resignation. We knew that because we know in advance how long the terms are. Last year, this council appointed Susan Schwint to the board. She's a retired teacher, and she's been doing great work with us. She would like to continue. It was a 1-year appointment because as of last year, the bylaw that establishes the library board was updated and was expanded to allow up to 10 trustees total on our board. So that previously had been 5 and had 3 additional positions. We needed to spread those out so that in no one year we were losing a whole whack of trustees and having a vacuum in the governance team. So last year, Susan was appointed for a special 1-year term. She's now up for renewal for a 3-year appointment. Rosemary Mayan, she has served on our board for 12 years, and she has been on the executive as the vice chair for the board for the majority of those years. She's interested. She also is a retired teacher, and she is interested in continuing her service to the board. That's great because she has the experience. And right now, we need experience. We're in a transitional situation where we just recently last year or early this year closed the Rotary Children's Library permanently. So all of those collection items, the programs, everything shifted up to the main branch. And we are looking at a new facility. So we need some leadership on our team that knows the situation, that's read into the problem, and has the wisdom to be able to bring us through this next little while. Both Susan and Rosemary have expressed their intent to be reappointed. We had one other applicant that came to us rather late. So after we had received Rosemary and Susan's request to be reappointed, we got another application that came to us. And that was from, this is really stiflingly hot, that came to us quite a bit later. It was Amanda Jeffries. And she came to our last meeting. So this was at our September 23rd meeting. Lovely lady. Wonderful to see that she's interested. We had already submitted our request for a decision. We added Amanda Jeffries as a late option. But when she came to our meeting in September 23rd, we asked if she would be willing to have her application held over until next year when we know we're going to have a position open up. She was quite happy to do that. Hence, our request today is for reappointment of Susan Schwint for a 3-year term and Rosemary Mayan for a 3-year term, and to hold over Amanda Jeffries' application for 1 year. Questions?
Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions? Does not look like there are any questions. Is there anybody that'd like to make a motion? Thank you. Councillor Clark?
Thank you, Your Worship. So I make a motion that council reappoint Rosemary Mayan. Can I do both at the same time, or do you have to do both?
Yeah. A is both, I believe.
Okay, I gotcha. Council appoint following members at large to the Town of Drayton Valley Library Board: Rosemary Mayan and Susan Schwint for a 3-year term expiring October 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to Family and Community Support Services, FCSS Advisory Board member appointments. We have the youth representative, senior representative, and town representative. Mrs. Strand. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lola Strand. I am the FCSS program manager. As per the bylaw for the Drayton Valley District FCSS board, I'm just going to put my glasses on. We have 7 members of the board. Welcome to the brand new board member, Representative Emma Gamata, to the FCSS board. Welcome. We currently have 3 vacancies: the youth rep, the seniors rep, and the town at large rep. The position was posted and there was no new applicants. However, all 3 representatives did reapply. So we have applications from Hannah Luckwell, who is our youth representative, from Sandra Blades, who is our town representative, and from Wendell Smith, who is our seniors representative. So the recommendation is that council reappoint those members to the FCSS advisory board.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions? No questions. So what I think we'll do is I will call for a motion on the youth representative. Is there anybody that would like to make that motion? Councillor Evans, thank you for that.
I'll make the motion that council appoints Hannah Luckwell as the youth representative for the FCSS board for a 2-year term expiring October 31st, 2023.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to the senior representative. Is there any questions on that? Can I get a motion from somebody? Monica?
I'd like to make a motion that council appoints Wendell Smith as a senior representative for the FCSS board for a 2-year term expiring October 31st, 2023.
Thank you for that. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? That is carried. Moving on to the town representative. Any questions? Councillor Gamata, do you have a question? No? Would you like to make the motion? Thank you.
Thank you. Then I'll make a motion that council appoints Sandra Blades as the town representative for the FCSS board for a 2-year term expiring October 31st, 2023. Thank you.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Can I ask all in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much for that. Moving on to 6.2, the library budget 2022 with appropriation request. That is you again, Doug. Did you want to did you want to come and sit, maybe, perhaps? A little more relaxing.
And appropriation request is based on actuals. Now, as per the request for decision, I put a lot of information in here. Council should be aware that we had one employee who was on maternity leave in 2020. She started, well, it was actually end of 2020 in September, all the way through till just this last month. It's great to have her back. We knew that she was going to be on maternity leave. So when we presented our 2021 budget, her payroll was taken off. There was concern that we were doing that because it would look like, hey, you can operate with less money. Well, we knew we could in 2021, but that's the reality is the Employment Standards Code requires that when that person returns from maternity leave, she has the same job, same salary. She's back, so we know for 2022, her salary comes back on our budget. And the only way that we managed to get through this last year with one staff short was COVID. It's a difficult situation when you know there's restrictions, there's still work to be done. We kept everyone on our team that remained working throughout, but now it's back to business. And we are expecting the fourth wave of COVID to sort of ease off. I can present you with all kinds of statistics that say we were actually busier during the pandemic than we were before the pandemic. And all of the circulations of physical materials are rebounding to pre-pandemic levels. So we are well accessed. We have, as I mentioned in the previous presentation, we have less space right now to work with because we're crunched from all of the materials that came up from Rotary Children's Library. And we know that we've got our work cut out for us. So let's get to the dollars and cents. The way that I calculate the budget, it's not necessarily up there, but that's all right. The way that I calculate the budget is that we can have a pretty good estimation of what grants are coming to us, whether it's the grant from Parkland through an agreement, the grant from Alberta government based on population of both town and then county population. And, oh, look at that. We lost our school division grant because we closed the Rotary. We have some payroll grants that help supplement summer seasonal students that come and work with us. We know that we have operational expenses, including an amortization. Every year, things depreciate and they come off our books. We have a bookshop budget, and that is a cash in, cash out. We have our collections budget for physical items, as well as virtual items. Those are the things that you don't see circulating, but you know they do because I look at the statistics. We have continuing education budget. We have facilities budget, and that includes utilities and whatnot. We have operations budget, and that is buying supplies, and getting things ready to go out onto the floor. We have professional consultation budget, and we have programs budget. We no longer have a vehicle, we sold it, so that came off our budget. This is as accurate a budget as I can provide for you, and it's as streamlined a budget as I can provide for you. We've done a lot of work in making our budgets reflect actual operating costs over the last 5 years. So here we are. We know what we're getting in from revenues, grant and operational. We know what it's going to cost us to operate during the budget year. You subtract the revenue from the expenses, and we're expecting a deficit, a total deficit of $486,000 and some change. Now we split that between the two municipalities that are our parent municipalities. Of course, there's the town, you do the appointments, and you are our parent municipality, and the Brazeau County is our next municipality where we serve all of the residents of the county. So we split that as we do this budget, a 40-60 split. Town, we asked for 60% of the deficit, and county, we asked for 40% of the deficit. It's not written in stone anywhere. It's just the way that it's closest approximation to the split in the population, town and county. And when I say that, that's taking into account that Breton has a library and they're within county boundaries as well. So we are requesting that the town help in supporting our operations for 2022 by providing $291,704. That is our appropriation request to maintain the services. That includes, we are looking to increase our operation by 2 to 4 hours per week in 2022. Currently, we offer 51 hours per week for services, and we just recently ran a survey asking patrons and staff, actually, and board members, anyone who responded to the survey, what day of the week would you prefer us to add hours? So far, it has been resoundingly in favor of Saturdays, to expand our Saturday hours from 4 hours per day to 7 hours per day. We can do this. And that would be included in this appropriation request, the ability to do that. That is my presentation, and I am open to questions.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any questions? Oh, Councillor Gavana?
Thank you. So just to understand better, Mr. Winston Smith, the 2021 budget and the proposed budget of 2022, the only difference is that particular employee that you mentioned about?
That is the big budget consideration here, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Just a reminder too that we are moving into budget discussions. I got that backwards. Budget discussions, or we're starting that. Mr. Osmond?
Thank you very much, Council. I did want to draw Council's attention that although this item was prepared by Doug on behalf of the Library Board, and it is their recommendation to Council that the request for the appropriation be approved. Town administration did provide an additional recommendation to Council. It's listed in section 7 that Council accept the appropriation report and that the appropriation value be referred to the budget deliberations. So I did have a conversation with Doug in anticipation of this meeting that Council may have a desire rather than approving here today to consider this in the whole of the budget discussion. So I just wanted to make sure that Council was aware of that recommendation and saw the motions, potential motions that were laid out for Council.
Thank you very much for that. Any further questions? Councillor McKee?
Just a quick question, Madam Mayor. So we refer to budget in the motion. That doesn't necessarily hold you up or cause any concern other than you don't know what your number is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Would you like to
I'd make a motion,
Perfect.
Madam Mayor, that the town administration recommends the council accept the Drayton Valley Library appropriation report and refer the appropriation amount of $291,704 to budget deliberations.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the motion? I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much for that. Moving on to 6.3, childcare now. Lola, I believe, oh, sorry, Bernice. That is you. I didn't see you behind there, so I was looking at Lola. Come on down. Thank you. Morning.
How's that?
Yep, that's good.
Just saying, I'm looking forward to getting to know Lauren.
Thank you.
So I'm here today to talk about, back in May, I was able to brief council about the National Child Care Plan that the province, or that the federal government had brought forward in their April announcement. And if I need to come back at some point, I could come back and just go through that in a later date. What we're here to talk about today is Childcare Now is an advocacy group that is out there trying to appeal to our province to sign the deal. There are 8 jurisdictions that have signed across Canada. Alberta, Manitoba, and Ontario have not. So we're waiting. And to be clear, the first deal was signed at the beginning of July, and those parents have saved $3,500 to this point per child that parents in Alberta are not saving right now. So we're waiting for a deal, and parents are just not getting the savings that could come from that. Childcare Now is also looking at really spearheading the fact that municipal childcare is a model, and we've certainly celebrated how successful our childcare center has been. We are a different model in that we are not only nonprofit, but we have the support of council, as well as a operational board that works with us to make sure we're delivering a high quality as well as well-educated staff. That is the premise of what the federal government is looking for. We certainly fit within the criteria, but what we're saying is that we think that this model is something that could spread across this province. So Childcare Now is asking if our council is interested in standing behind them as a support to say, we agree with a national childcare program coming to our province. I do also want to just share with you before you make a decision on that. The last time I came to report to you, I was up for a possibility of being appointed, and I have now been asked to be part of the Leaders Caucus for Early Learning and Childcare of Alberta, which is exciting.
Congratulations.
I'm still in application to be on the federal group as well, so we're waiting. They're vetting me.
That's fantastic.
So today I'm just looking for your decision if whether you would be willing to put Drayton Valley forward as a support for the National Child Care Program.
Well, thank you for that. Congratulations. That's fantastic news. And I agree that, yeah, you should maybe come and present at a GNP or something, so then we can just kind of bring all the new counselors up to date as well. So I will ask, are there any questions? No questions? Okay, can I get a motion? Councillor Gavanna?
Thank you. I'm delighted to make the motion that council accept a motion to have the Town of Drayton Valley logo shared with Childcare Now, sharing our support in the call to the province to signing an early learning and childcare agreement. I believe this is very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ballas?
Just a question for administration. Any concerns?
Administration doesn't have any concerns.
Are there any questions or discussion on the motion? None. I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Moving on to 6.4, New Aquatic Center Amenity Sponsorship Rights Agreement for approval. 6.4, that is Mr. Starnes. Is he? Oh, there you are, right there. You've been here the whole time. It's that pillar there that keeps blocking everybody.
Well,
Welcome.
Thank you, and welcome all new counselors and returning counselors. So I feel like Lorene, who was here earlier with the DV Aquatic Committee, did most of the legwork on this and explaining what they're doing and what this is all about. So I will cut to the chase, and basically the Drayton Valley Royal Purple Elks Lodge is asking to be the sponsor of the hot tub for the new aquatic center. They are willing to give us $75,000 for a 10-year agreement, which would have the hot tub at the new aquatic facility named after them, with appropriate signage and all that goes with that. The advertising, whatever else we might be doing with media. So yeah, I mean, it's basically, they're asking if you guys would approve the agreement to go into them, with them, to sign this and have them sponsors of the hot tub.
Well, thank you for that. Are there any? If there's no questions, I will ask, can I get someone to make a motion? Councillor Vallis?
I move that council approve the sponsorship rights agreement between the town and the Drayton Valley Royal Purple Elk Lodge, number 196 as presented.
Wasn't sure if you were serious there. Is there any discussion or questions on the motion? If none, then I'll ask all in favor. That is carried. Thank you very much for that. Just quick and easy, that one. 6.5, community grants, fourth quarter allocation. This is Tom's favorite always. So with that, we have Lola again. Welcome again. No, I think the red light has to be on. There you are.
Yeah, I'm going to take the chair this time, Jen. I don't know what it is about sitting under that light, but it's really hot. So it is the fourth quarter allocation of the community grant events grant. So the municipality does accept applications from nonprofit organizations that host community events and require donations for worthwhile projects, programs, or services. Funding applications are reviewed on a quarterly basis, with each funding period allocating up to $5,000. There was 3 applications that were received during this period. Administration did approve 1 application for the Eagle Point Blue Rapids Parks Council, a Name for Success Pumpkin Walk, which was an amazing event. I don't know if everyone got to that one, but it was really good. So administration approved that one, so that one went ahead. There are 2 applications that are sitting under council's purview. One being the Buggy Arm Wrestling Stronghold Championship Outdoor Summer Event and World Title Match. And the second one being the Drayton Valley District Chamber of Commerce application. The Drayton Valley District Chamber of Commerce application does fall under council purview as it didn't meet all the required criteria. Therefore, administration chose to put it under council purview.
And that's everything?
Yeah, the information has been included in the package, including the criteria sheet that was completed by previous administration, along with the application forms. So we're just looking for a motion on the 2 applications, the Buggy Arm Wrestling and the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you for that. Mr. Osman, do you feel that I would need to leave for conflict of interest, considering my mom is the president of the Drayton Valley District Chamber of Commerce?
So the decision to declare a pecuniary interest is, of course, up to the individual elected member. However, if there is a perception that you feel that there may be a pecuniary interest on this issue, it would be my recommendation that you do excuse yourself for that pecuniary interest.
Okay, thank you. So I think what I'll do is I will call upon Tom to take my chair and I will remove myself for pecuniary interest.
So, sorry, going on that route, I sit as a director on the Drayton Valley Chamber of Commerce. Should I be accusing myself as well?
So again, it would come to a question of pecuniary interest and whether or not in your position as a member on that board, there would be a financial benefit to you or your family of having this happen. If you feel that's the case, then it would be appropriate. However, if you don't feel that that pecuniary interest exists, it is at your discretion and decision.
Right, because it's a non-profit organization, would that kind of like it's not eligible as a pecuniary interest in my mind, right? Is that the case because of a non-profit organization?
That would seem like a suitable rationale to me.
And I would argue that the issue for our mayor is directly related to her mom. And we've gone two sessions, it seems to say it's your mom and your dad and your family if they stand to benefit, which is, they're not standing to benefit. They're merely the club, right? But the whole mum thing sort of popped up, and I think because she's chosen to do that, I think we can certainly accept that. But I'm with you, Rob, on the nonprofit for anybody here at this table. Councilor Bellis.
Thank you. Question for administration. We have $4,000 apparently. There's an ask for $2,800. Is that $1,200 carried forward, or what happens with it?
To carry forward into the following year? Is that what you're asking? I believe it doesn't. No.
No, I believe it has to be used, or it goes back to revenue.
Yeah, it goes back into general revenue.
Anything further? Councilor Bellis?
I just may change the amounts.
Fire away. Any other questions?
You ready for a motion?
Yep.
Okay. Just have to find it. I move that council award buggy arm wrestling $2,500 from the community events grant to help cover the costs associated with hosting the following arm wrestling competition: Stronghold competition, December 11th, 2021, April 23rd, 2022, and outdoor summer event, June 2022, and the world title march, August 27th, 2022. And can I make just one motion here? And that council award Drayton Valley and District Chamber of Commerce $1,500 from the community events grant to help cover the costs associated with purchasing trophies to be presented at the business awards event.
Questions? Just to be clear, because I'm just now opening this package from a different desk. So the buggy arm had asked for 18, and you're saying just reduce that to 5?
I'm increasing it to 25, and the chamber by 500 to 15.
Okay. I thought you'd gone to 5, and I thought, well, there must be some rationale behind that.
Yes. I'm scared of the $4,000.
Anything more? The motion's on the floor, Lola. Anything to add there? Not to add.
No, it's okay. Yeah, we're within budget.
Okay. All in favor? Carried.
So moving on to 6.6, AUMA Committee and Board of Directors positions. This is Mr. Osmond.
Thank you very much, Council. So the Alberta Union of Municipal Authorities, the Association of Urban Municipal, oh, I'm messing it up. I can just read it right off their book. Oh, and they don't put it on the front page.
Alberta Urban Municipalities Association.
Thank you. Has both a board of directors and a series of standing committees. As the annual convention for the AUMA is fast approaching on Friday, November 19th during the convention, the elections for positions on the board will take place, as well as appointments to a number of committees. I just wanted to bring this information forward along with the information package for candidates and for committee applications. If council had any desire to select a member from within our elected council to sit on any of these committees or to be put forward for election to the board. So the information is all there. If council does decide that they would like to put some names forward, administration can coordinate the application and nomination processes as appropriate.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So in the past, we have had members of council sit on AUMA. Tom has previously sat on there. Did you not? Were you not the president at one time of, yes, of AUMA? And then Farrell, one of our past councilors as well, was AUMA West Director West. And then she also sat on some of the committees as well. I believe that there is just the committees that are available for applications as of now. My understanding is the VIP position is for directors already or people that are already appointed. Is that not correct?
It's not correct, but in the world of the person that currently holds it is reapplying. So and in the pecking order, that generally says, yeah, you wouldn't want to go for that position. And thankfully, that communication with our Newtown West rep, Janet Jabush, the mayor of Mayerthorpe, had indicated that person. What I had thought when I sent the note out is that she may go there and then leave Towns West open, but it's, as it turns out, the previous VP of Towns is putting their name back in. So I think that one's
gone. Okay, thank
so
you.
It's all about committees and being that exchange that we've been having back and forth about bringing something back from an outside group. It's hugely important. So if we don't necessarily have to have a broad discussion, but we should have. If somebody's interested, we need to be ready and go in and say that's the person we want, and we work the rooms per se. And so I think, for my mind, that's a different discussion at just when we're talking, right? I don't know if we would want to do that now unless somebody's ready.
Well, yeah, and that was, I think, a little bit of my concern is that coming to, I know that we're very pressed for time coming on the council agenda. I don't think we've had any time to collectively, Bill, are you going to put your name forward? Got your mic, you've got your mic on. I see that you would like to.
No, I just want to be heard. No.
I think it's a good idea. So, I mean, if anybody does see a committee on the list, the following committees they're in your package that maybe or might interest. I think Tom made a really good point there that it's a matter of when we go to AUMA, we're out advocating, we're pushing, if there's something that, and it's the same as sitting on one of our committees here locally, except you're now sitting on it as an AUMA board committee member, I guess. So, would we have the opportunity to, I'm just thinking, have a maybe larger conversation at GNP, or is there a motion looking for approval?
So applications to sit on the committee, we have until November 19th, the day of the appointment, to get those applications in. So if council wanted to have further discussion on it this afternoon, GP, that would be acceptable. There is an ability in GMP to make the motion directing administration to carry the paperwork forward.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ballas?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the motion that council deferred to administration for further consideration. And if somebody's interested, they can get a hold of administration, get the nomination package and send it in. I don't think you need approval of council to submit your name.
Okay. Is there any questions or discussion on the motion?
The one piece that Janet had sent through is that apparently they vet it fairly. So if you're interested in finance or if you're interested in those things, your resume just need to be part of it. And And then plus, I think back to work in the rooms, that may be where the work will come from, is the right person.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Osmond?
Because there is a financial commitment to having one of the counselors appointed to the committee, it will require a motion from council authorizing that appointment. However, there is another meeting on December 10th, next Wednesday. So if council wasn't prepared to make that motion today, there is still time to do that before the convention.
Councillor Ballas?
Question, financial commitment, I believe AMA is responsible. I don't believe there's a financial commitment from our group. When Farrell was on, I believe the AMA was responsible for all expenses.
Maybe I can add, I think we do need to understand that better, but I think if you're on the board, they will pay your mileage and your per diem fees on the board. Not sure about committees, so good point.
Okay, thank you for that. We can, maybe if there's further questions, if we can discuss at GNP, or if somebody is interested, we can get the information and those questions answered for them. So if there's no further questions, I will ask, the motion has been presented by Councillor Ballas. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So moving into our 7.0 department report, starting with 7.1, planning and development. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Worship, Council. So for the November 3rd planning report, the first item is the Deer Meadows Area Structure Plan. Staff of administration has completed our internal review and have prepared a report for council to discuss at the November 10th GMP meeting. The next item is HW Pickup School. We've also completed our revisions to the site plan, which is up on the screen. By moving the access road further to the east, we were able to do three things. We were able to increase the drop-off spaces along that roadway, along the sidewalk on the school. We're able to get some more parking spaces in that parking lot, and we're able to increase the queuing distance from the intersection to access the school. So those revisions are complete. And the final item is I participated in 2 webinars in the last 2 weeks, one on asset management and one on the Bill 48 amendments. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Councillor Ballas?
What's Bill 48?
What's that?
What's Bill 48?
Oh, it's I guess, an amendment to the Municipal Government Act that the provincial government does every year that primarily affects the municipal planning area in the Government Act. This year they focused on appeal board. They added a couple of additional appeal board requirements. Basically local, every municipality has its local appeal board, and then if they're in other areas such as the green area, there's a provincial appeal board. And now they've added 2 more that deal with if a previous approval was given for resource extraction like gravel or some other pipeline or some other agency, whatever the agency, that appeal lies in their hands, not the local. So that's essentially was the topic of the amendment this year.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor.
I have been getting questions about, so when do we see a shovel going into the ground for the HW pickup? We're still doing planning. When do you see that?
My understanding through to Councillor McGee is they've been in the tendering process for about a month. So I would expect probably the earliest would be sometime end of January, maybe February, somewhere in there.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. If there's no other questions, thank you for your report. Moving on to page. 7.2, infrastructure and engineering.
Morning, Madam Mayor and esteemed council.
Good morning.
So for the landfill operations RFP is reissued due to both proponents being non-compliant. Tender to close November 19th. Contract will be for a 5-year term still with a negotiable start date due to the difficulty of acquiring equipment with current market conditions. I'm sure as all you aware that it seems to be hard to get things and acquire things due to supply chain shortages and microprocessors and that. As of October 22nd, the recycling center has transitioned to its new location at the landfill. So far, administration has proven that to be successful. There hasn't been any sort of illegal dumping at the old site, and so far we haven't heard of anything negative with the new location. It seems to be working quite well. The Scale House, as this council, well, previous council knows, and hopefully this new council does, is now operated by town staff and operated by town-owned Scale Software. Of course, with everything, there's a little bit of kinks with a new system and new processes for people that aren't used to it, but I think it'll turn out to be a very good, transparent, and a little more balanced system than has been in the past. For utilities, well, at this time when I wrote the report, hydrant winterizing is 90% complete, but it's pretty much done now. Cell 1 and 2 wastewater lagoon hydro surveys are now complete. We're getting quotes from various desludging companies that they're putting an earmark of about $300,000 to desludge them, just because they've been neglected for some time. And in some locations in the lagoons, the sludge is about 5 meters thick. So it's definitely time to get it done. Vibration testing has been complete on the fire pumps in the reservoir building, which essentially supplies water for the town. There'll be a big budget discussion about that tomorrow to rectify that, but 2 pumps have been identified as needing total critical rebuild, and there's 4 pumps in total. So there's definitely going to need some attention in the future with that. For public works, leaf sweeping on roads and parks is ongoing until snowfall. We've had an issue with our crack ceiling trailer. It's a little bit of a learning curve because it's a bit of a finicky monster, but a little bit of a training session for the crew. Currently transitioning fleet to winter operations ready. We're pretty much there. Winter sand and sander units are prepped and ready for winter anytime it hits, which could be any time. Prepping new public works building for transition. So essentially within about a week, all we're going to be waiting on is for the phone and internet to be installed and the gas line to run to the new equipment shed. So those 2 are going to be what we're hinging on at this point. For engineering, the CTEC is currently doing cost assessments for future road and trail rehabilitations, and planning for the next concrete and sidewalk rehabilitation cycles are in progress right now, of course, pending on council budget approval. For facilities maintenance, the facilities manager is going to be working on a report for what maintenance is required for every town-owned building, and I'll have him in here to speak on what his findings are in the report that he makes. And I would also definitely try to bring in my other sub-managers to speak on the other budget submissions if council has more specific questions. So does council have any questions for me?
Thank you for that. Any questions? Councillor Ballas?
Why not? The space now in the new public works is sufficient for all the equipment that we have?
Thank you, Councillor Ballas. Yes, it is. The only reason why currently Parks is using the West Yard building for interior storage is just it's a bit of a shorter track for them to go. But I mean, for space, yeah, it'll accommodate everything that we have.
Councillor Evans?
The desludging, Owen, are you planning on land spreading that after you pull it out of there, or how are you going to handle that stuff?
Thank you, Councillor Evans. My hope is that it's going to be centrifuged, and then we're going to have a drying bed so that hopefully, pending on testing, we can use that for some soil for our landfill to save us on cost.
Glad to hear that. That can be tricky, to say the least, that land spreading. Can I just ask one more question? So as far as the next concrete sidewalk rehabilitation, et cetera, I had a little concern when I ran here about the product that we were getting There's a piece of sidewalk very close to my house that was a year old and had cracking through 40% of it. Not to get too deep into the weeds here, but do we have an assigned project manager that oversees those as they're going through the process?
Thank you, Councillor Evans. We do now. I assumed this role in January. Prior to, I can't really speak much on that. But moving forward, there is going to be people assigned to it. Also, we're going to be enforcing our design standards, which I'm asking our CTEC to update from 2002 until the 21st century. And also to making sure that we have warranty in our contracts, I think is a big thing to play here as well. So hopefully that answers your question.
Perfect. Yes, it does.
Councillor Clark?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So just to get back to that $300,000 for desludging, you mentioned it was due to neglect. Now, is there a plan in place, I guess, to remove the neglect and maybe spread that out over 7 years? And maybe are there alternatives to desludging?
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Yeah, there's definitely a passion for me and also the new utility supervisor to definitely keep up on the preventative maintenance. As for desludging, like Councillor Evans alluded to, it's a bit of a tenuous animal on how you can deal with that. You'll always get sludge in the first section of the lagoons. Best bet is that you centrifuge it and then you drying bed it, test it, and try to get it to a landfill, because shipping it away or trying to do God knows what to whoever is a bit of an issue. But yeah, that's our hopes, to actually get a preventative maintenance plan happen. And so that with desludging, the cost is directly associated to how much sludge. So, I mean, we can defer this for another 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. The number's just going to climb. There is a different process with it. I believe you're familiar with it, the geo bags. Essentially, they're instead of centrifuging it to sift out the water from the actual material, you basically fill up a gigantic bag. It's probably about 20, 30 feet wide, 100 feet long. The only problem is that's very costly. It's very time consuming. And say for our stormwater ponds, I'm pretty sure the residents wouldn't appreciate seeing a massive bag of mud sit there for 2 or 3 years as it slowly leaches the water out of the bag. So we kind of feel that this is the more efficient and maybe sightly way. Also too, with the lagoons, I don't think they would handle the pressure of having those bags sitting right on the bank, weighing tons and tons of materials.
Thank you. Great questions. Deputy Mayor McGee.
Mr. Owen, were you in the room when I asked Sergeant Matthews about the fence at the landfill?
Yeah, thank you, Councillor McGee. I was. I do have Sunny looking at getting it repaired. It's a very ongoing issue there, because we'll repair the fence, a hole gets cut somewhere else, we'll fix that, and then a hole gets cut somewhere else. So we're always chasing the issue, but I did allude that to him to get it fixed.
And we're well aware that there's a camp, right?
There's 3.
And what I was saying to her, we're not so aggressive, and I think generally everybody seems to be okay with that. Where do you stand?
It causes a bit of operational issue with us having scale house employees. There are times I worry about the security of things for their personal security. Also, the landfill operator has every once in a while getting a brand of vandalism to the equipment, like wire copper stripped out of the engine compartment, stuff like that. I think the last hit cost them about $30,000 worth of damage. We've had numerous fires of which they were at the cell face, melting the casing off of the wire copper to essentially get copper slag to sell, which I appreciate. I'm glad they're not doing it in the forest, that they're doing it somewhere not flammable. Unfortunately, that could pose a real severe liability for us if our cell face starts on fire. So from my standpoint, it's a bit of an issue that somehow needs to be addressed. I don't have a recommendation to council, because it's not an easy one. If somebody would have figured the solution out, I mean, the world would be a lot happier, but yeah, I'm sorry, I can't add any recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Evans.
Maybe something you might want to consider on is, I know that at the Lagoon and Buck Creek that the county runs, they've been adding a biological digester to that, and they overloaded it to address their sludge. Now, I think our lagoons are probably too big to take that on, looking at the information you've given us. But it may be worthwhile to make contact with Darcy, just as a additional method. Once you've addressed this sludge, it may be helpful in addressing that buildup or the speed of that buildup in the future. Worth looking into anyway.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Evans. I actually did talk to utility supervisor about that, and I said, can we throw a bunch in? And the response I got back was at 5 meters thick, it's too far gone, but on an ongoing basis, absolutely, we'll be putting in Actizyme in it for sure. So, yeah, Actizyme. Yeah, no, we're already on that.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Moving on to 7.3, health and safety. Good morning.
Good morning, council and mayors. I don't have too much to say. Not much new in the health and safety world. Our facilities and our user groups have been working very good together. So this with the masking and everything with COVID, which makes it easier for our staff and less confrontational. Contractors are my biggest commitment right now is working with the contractors for snow removal. That big S word is, I'm sure it's coming soon. So we're developing an orientation package for all our snow haulers. Last year we orientated probably about 36 people. It wasn't a good year for them. They didn't get a lot of hours, but I'm anticipating this year that, we'll get them all orientated and get them ready for our snow haul season. I've also been working with the Scale House, developing new procedures, identifying hazards, and I'll be working with them to develop their emergency response plan.
Wonderful. Thank you. Are there any questions? No. Thank you very much for your presentation. Moving on to 7.4, community services and FCSS. That is
Thank you very much, Council. So I'm going to provide update on a couple of items today. The first of which is that we have asked that Derek and Lola step into functional manager positions in the community services. That will be particularly important during this time of transition while we are recruiting a GM of community services. It will be a great help to me to have their expertise able to keep some of those items on their desks and not mine. So those two are working hard in place now, and I expect in the next couple of meetings you'll start receiving an update from one of them rather than from me. There are a number of exciting projects that the group is working on to bring to council. Particularly, there is the announcement of some funding for the Shelter Pod program. And so we're in the process of compiling some information to bring that back to council, as well as construction on the new aquatic center, as we heard today, continues. And we have some information being prepared for that. So certainly some exciting times in the community services and FCSS function. Lots of stuff is in preparation to come to council. So some exciting pieces there. And that's the summation of my report for community services and FCSS.
Thank you very much. That is exciting news. Are there any questions? Deputy Mayor McGee?
Just one quick one. We talked about the MAP program, and I just can't, I understand from Sergeant Matthews that we did get the grant and all right. So then I see an aggressive no on that. And so what are we doing then?
I'm going to invite Lola down because she's far more of an expert in the area than I am.
As of today, we have no response yet as to if we have any provincial funding for the community MAP program. So aggressive, no. So unfortunately, this is concerning because the cold temperatures are are going to start coming, and we have no funding right now to staff a community MAP program. We did receive news about conditional funding for a shelter pod program, which will be coming forward with some information, but that will take some time. So the shelter pod program that will be in place of the community MAP program. That's the more last time I was in council, I reported that we had applied for funding for a shelter pod program that would allow us to offer emergency shelter without requiring all that funding for staffing, which is what we're depending on from the province. So we do have a conditional approval for that program, but yeah, that will take some time. And despite the last conversations that I'd had with province was that the government of Alberta recognized the need to continue to support us to provide shelter for individuals in our community, because we have a longstanding relationship with the province already. I've heard nothing in terms of confirmation of that funding coming forward. Thus, where we're trying to come up with a more sustainable solution.
Mr. Osman?
Thank you very much. So I think, these programs are really important, and as exciting as the pod program is, it will take some time before we are able to move that forward. And certainly the securing of some funding for the MAP program at this point is becoming critical for us to assist those populations through another cold winter season. So at this point, I think it may be one of the things that we seek meetings for with ministers at AUMA is a conversation about the importance of this program for the community and the need to be a little more responsive and a little more engaged in this issue.
Absolutely. I'll be having a discussion with Mark Smith in the coming day or two, so I can bring this up as well and say that we really need to get that secured in place. Councilor Kamana?
Thank you. Just for understanding, the pod program, the MAT program, but the MAT program, I think we are catering to a bigger audience there, right? Then the pod program is kind of limited to how many pods we have.
Yeah, that's
so
correct.
Even with the pod program, we still have a bigger issue.
Yeah, it's only going to be a piece of the solution for sure. The pod program will serve as that, for someone who has nowhere to go,
right?
And it's cold.
Okay. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor McGee?
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Remind me of what the grant was for the MAP. Was it like in that sort of $80,000, $90,000? Is that the budget that we would? But I'm thinking to myself, I'm almost can see somebody coming back in and going, you've got to figure out this, and so get some money, right? We can't let this happen. But was it 90 in that sort of?
Well, this year's request was over 100. Last year's MAP program, we had a number of incident reports come forward, which is putting our staff in harm's way. So the request was made that we have funding to allow for 2 staff on every shift. So the funding's significant. It's two staff on shift for 10 hours, 7 days a week for the duration of the winter.
Thank you very much for your report. Moving on to 7.5, Enterprise and Growth.
Good morning, Your Worship,
Morning.
Mayor Dodds, Council. As for the November 3rd report under the Enterprise and Growth Department, we are still proceeding with the initiatives under the Startup DV, the Dragon's Den Hackathon, and Labor Market Research Grant. So on that, because the time is of essence here, we put up forward the application for the labor grant. So the labor grant, it's aimed to conduct an in-depth labor workforce survey for the Drayton Valley region, along with a plan on how to address the gap skills and the labor workforce incapability identified in this survey. With that being said, the application implies that we have several stakeholders partners when we apply for the labor market research grant. The County of Brazeau, it's one of our partners, and they have awarded a $5,000 contributions towards this this grant. The town of Drayton Valley would be we would be putting forward on the November 10th GMP presentation request for approval from the town to match the same dollar amount towards this grant. As well, the Enterprise and Growth would be participating in kind contributions in the dollar value of $25,000. But just want to emphasize that's in kind contributions, so our work to get this survey done. And then at this point in time, we're working to put forward a request for information where we be reaching out to the community, identifying organization or group of individuals or just an individual to be able to take on this survey. The RFI implies that we're going to be meeting with several individuals, organizations, and we're going to discuss the milestones, things that needs to be achieved and done, and the progress, how we can proceed and get this to be a success. Then we would be putting forward the request for proposal once we discussed and identify those individuals, let them know that we would be requesting a dollar amount that's going to be a part of their contributions. And based on that, we would be awarding the work. With the Dragon's Den and Hackathon, as I mentioned, we're still engaging, again, reaching out back to the investors, business individuals that we have made contact in the past and offered to be part of the panelists for the Dragon's Den and Hackathon. We're going to do an advertisement for the community to bring that minded business folks to the table. But before any of the live presentation or public presentation under the two Dragon's Den or Hackathon, we're going to have a training, and a training that's going to be supported through Karen, Alberta Innovates, Edmonton Startup, and Platform Calgary. And this institution have, because we had quite discussions with them, they have explained to us, due to success they had in the past, a training, it's a must be put in place. A training must take place with the business-minded people before the presentation is done. Fact is that someone would need to have that interaction between investors, business panelists, and the people that's going to presenting the business idea. So when on the reality of doing the presentation in front of a camera or in front of a public, that emotions, it's kind of worked out, and that would show, I would say, an improvement or a more of a, find the word, I guess, a more comfortable positions from the point of presenter and from the point of showing a success. This would, well, as well, just wanted to mention, we're in talks with several organizations from the City of Edmonton with proposal to bring investments in brewery in town. Now, I know that the steps moving forward with the combative sports presentation and what the town is going to be taking the steps moving forward. This would I mean, if the combative sports would be a success story brought here to town, from my point of view, would be an attraction to an investment such as brewery in town. Thank you. That will be all for presentation today.
Thank you very much for your report. Are there any questions? Deputy Mayor.
My only question, I know that you were in the room when we were with the county council, and the facilitator brought up Beaumont. And Beaumont is a sandbox city, and their intention is to incubate. And so I make the leap that you wrote that down, and you're going to contact them and find out what they're up to.
Thank you for bringing up this, Councillor McGee. Absolutely. I'm also aware that the city of Beaumont, they took further steps that they're basically right now renting space to these out-of-box business incubated by the day or by the short blocks. They want to learn. They want to learn where if someone comes with a business idea and they're providing the city is providing a small interaction space that would be interacting with other business-minded people, that things will evolve from there. This is a really brand new out of the box concept from the city of Beaumont, and I'm following really close on that, because that's things that we would be able to learn or replicate, duplicate, and moving forward. But once again, I am in contact with folks out there to make sure that we're learning from them. And if there's a success, we'll definitely kind of bring it here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your report. Moving on to 7.6, Protective and Emergency Services. Those Halloween treat bags for us? Good morning. Well, thank you very much. Yay! I've been asking about one. Oh, don't say that out loud. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh, that's very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Thank you very much. Moving on to 7.7, Corporate Services and Finance.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
All right, well, we've been all over the place this last 2 months, but we're still getting stuff done. So we've been working on trailer collections. So oftentimes I'll just bring the new councillors up to speed quick, but with houses and taxes on property taxes on houses, we can do a tax sale. It's not a simple process, but we are capable of doing a tax sale to enforce collections. But with trailers, it's very difficult because we often don't have the information on the trailer that allows us to do a tax sale. And because oftentimes the amount of taxes on them are fairly insignificant, it in the past has been left just kind of to accumulate. And so this year we really tried to take some action on that. So earlier this summer, I had my finance manager, she sent out collections letters and just said that we would take further action if we didn't start collecting on some of these amounts. And let me just pull up her report here. And she's collected just about $25,000 since so there's two things. She sent letters out, and also we got a new credit adjuster company. And through all that, we've collected about $25,000, which is really incredible, much better than I expected. And then we're working on the 2022 budget. So I'm working with department heads to prepare for their presentations. And we're also working on the fee schedule to make sure that all our areas that need to be in cost recovery are in cost recovery. And we're also I'm working with the CEO and our HR professional to evaluate pay stacks and ensuring that our pay bands are moving together and are at where they should be at. And grants. So as we move towards the end of the year, we like to make sure that all our grants are up to date and the reporting is current so that we do not lose any funding in the future. And we know what funding we have already received the year, or during the year, and what we were still expecting. And then additionally, we like to look for grants that maybe we haven't received in the past, new sources of funding. And lastly, the big project that our team has been working on with Owen's team is the landfill being now operated by the town. We have the receivables and revenue collections is now falling under finance. So we're just working on some policies and procedures that will prove to be effective and efficient for both the landfill staff and our finance team. So the transition, like Owen said, we've had our kinks, but I think we're working it out, and I think that it'll be great moving forward. So that's everything for me.
Thank you for your report. Are there any questions? Councillor Ballas?
Thank you. First of all, I want to express our condolences on behalf of all council.
Thank you.
Three things, actually. The Red House has been demolished.
Yes.
And we've received our payment.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Grants are going to be so important, considering the fact that it looks like our MSI is going to be cut anywhere from 40 to 60%.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Very much, yes. So we're really going to have to reflect on our budget and our servicing levels or capital projects. So, whatever's out there for grants, we got to try to grab them.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for your.
Absolutely.
So with that, Elvira, operating stays the same for MSI. It's just capital, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, operating is marginal. It's only like $67,000 a year.
Okay.
I don't actually know if it's changing or not, but it really doesn't have really an impact on us. But the capital is looking to decrease to 40% of past funding for the remaining 2 years, and then it's going to switch to a new framework. So we're hoping to get some more information here in the next few weeks and meet with some government officials to just see kind of where it's heading and if we have any more information on the new framework. Because as of right now, we know that something will continue after MSI, but we don't have much information as to what that will look like. So we're really hoping that we can get some more information here shortly on that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your report. Moving on to 7.8, CAO and Administration Report.
Thank you very much, Council. I don't have much additional information to report. I will let Council know that we continue for the next several weeks to be heavily engaged in the orientation of the new Council. There are a number of planned activities and meetings that we have yet to work through, including the AUMA convention and a presence at the RMA convention. So as we move through those, there will be many more opportunities for updates, much more information for council as they begin their new term. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Thank you very much. Moving on to council reports. Deputy Mayor McKee, you are up.
I will be brief. I first want to say to the new members of council and to welcome you, and we've done that already, but I've now had the opportunity to sit through a couple of meetings, and I'm really, really happy with the way it feels, the chambers feels, and the new mayor. I just think it's terrific. Lastly, we had a meeting with the county council on Monday that I thought went very well. I haven't met with them for it seems like a year and a half, and all of a sudden we're in the room together. I thought it was amiable and effective, and it was terrific. So I'm looking forward to that relationship continuing. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Councilor Ballas.
Thank you very much. As probably everybody knows, there's been really no committee work. So I just want to look forward to working with council as a group in moving our town forward and hopefully being able to participate and look at what's best for all our residents. And hopefully there's no personal agendas, that we work as a group and do what's necessary for the betterment of our community.
Thank you for that. Councillor Gamana?
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, I wanted to congratulate Mayor Nancy, yourself, and the new councillors. Welcome to the team. And also, I wanted to thank my family as well. It's a big time commitment. As you can see, Monday we were there for 8 hours. We are here 6 hours, and tomorrow as well. So it's a big time commitment. I want to thank the family for giving me the time to be a part of this great group here. But one thing I wanted to bring up, I was waiting for a right time, is the one important thing that near and dear to my heart. To the attention that the racism and the discrimination that happened during the election times. I believe I went through challenges that no one else did, unfortunately. All due respect, I love these two individuals. Sat with me in the last council, Councillor Maggie or Councillor Bellas. If I look like yourselves, I wouldn't probably be going through those challenges as I've faced, out there or even here or anywhere else. So there was vandalism, there was emails, text, all of that that happened, and that doesn't only happen to myself. There's colleagues out there that happens during their work places as well. So that can happen intentionally or unintentionally, and this is something, like I said, near and dear to my heart. And I believe that I will be hopefully putting some ideas and policies forward. I believe we have a progressive and open-minded council here that will look at those matters and hopefully help me to push those forward to make our community more of a inclusive and open community for all of us. The other important thing is, like Councillor Ballas mentioned, we are seeing increased economic activity in our community, which is a great thing that we are seeing, and it's our job and the duty, I believe, that to facilitate that momentum and that growth. And I believe we will be deliberating many times about how we can go about doing that during the budgets and strategic planning and all of that as well. Also, finally, I just wanted to thank the community again for giving me the opportunity to sit here as a councillor and serve the whole community. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Clark?
Yes, ditto, I guess, with everybody else has said. Also like to say, congratulations to everybody else on council. Looking forward to working with our CAO and administration, and certainly appreciate the stuff I've seen so far from the administrative side. Everybody's been supportive and open and available when required. So thank you very much for that, and look forward for the next 4 years.
Thank you. Councillor Evans?
Well, I'd like to thank those experienced councillors and the mayor for making this transition for the newly elected folks here. It's nice to have some folks with that experience that can kind of show you the way a little bit as we get familiar with the process, et cetera. And I'd like to thank the staff of the town here. From what I've seen, you're doing a great job, and look forward to getting to know you all better and working with you, as well as the rest of council and our mayor. Thanks. It's a privilege, and so far I'm enjoying it and just trying to absorb everything and get up to speed. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Councillor Sheriff?
I just want to say that the last few meetings have been very eye-opening, learned a lot, and looking forward to learning a lot more about everything that's been going on. I'm excited about some of the proposals that have been brought up in front of us. Looking forward to maybe pushing forward with some of them. Would help our town grow, in my opinion. The CAO, Rob, you've been helpful. Every time I have a question, you're great. And administrators, I'd be lost without you. I would. Yeah, it's really, really been great so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So yes, this wraps up our first regular council meeting, and great job, everybody. And just moving forward, if you have any questions or you need us to pause or stop, feel free that you can put your hand up or interrupt. It's welcoming and very exciting. We've had a busy last couple weeks with orientation and training and kind of getting to know everybody. So that's been wonderful. Congratulations again to all of the counselors in the community that put their trust in us. I'm very honored to be sitting here. And thank you to administration. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of your hard work, and you're the ones that help put our vision forward. And thank you also to all those that worked the election. That was a very long day considering all the additional ballots. So that is very, very appreciated. And just to past council that, as well, we wouldn't be here without the support from them and the team that we had and everybody that ran in the election. It's not an easy task. So thank you for putting your names forward. And I'm just really looking forward to, working together as a team, and really excited for the next 4 years. And just thank you. And yeah, we made it through the first regular council meeting. So great job, everybody. By noon almost is right. Very, very close. So moving on to our information items. 9.1, Sustainability Committee Meeting Notes, June 22nd, 2021, July 5th, 2021, August 4th, 2021, and August 24th, 2021. 9.2, Drayton Valley Municipal Library Meeting Minutes, August 19th, 2021. 9.3, Star Catholic School Board Meeting Highlights, October 2021. 9.4, Brazeau Foundation Meeting Minutes, September 16th, 2021. 9.5, Drayton Valley Brazeau County Fire Services Stats, September 2021. 9.6, Drayton Valley RCMP Stats, September 2021. Can I get a motion to accept these as information? Deputy Mayor, thank you for that. All in favor? That is carried, and we will adjourn the meeting at 12:03.